So today I just want to sit and kind of talk to y'all, sit and give y'all some advice about all the stuff that I've learned over the past few years of my life about growing up and things of that nature. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna show y'all my makeup skincare routine. So let's get into it. So I just got out of the shower and I washed my face and everything. And so now I'm gonna use the Glow Recipe Watermelon Toner. And then the niacinamide dewdrops. And then lastly, some sunscreen. Because even though you're black, you still need sunscreen to, prevent wrinkles and skin cancer and stuff like that. So the first piece of advice I want to give on growing up and everything is don't put other people on a pedestal. Don't think that you can't live without somebody or that you'll never be able to make it without somebody, because God will show you that you most definitely can live without them. So never be like, oh my gosh, I can't live without this person, or never idolize another person. That's what it is. Because once you start thinking you can't live without another person, you're in turn gonna start idolizing them. Now I'm gonna use the niacinamide dewdrops, but you're gonna eventually start idolizing them. And literally one of the 10 commandments is to not do that. Never put any other idols above God. And that also goes for relationships, whether they be platonic or romantic. You can't put anybody else above your relationship with yourself and your relationship with God, because those are the only two relationships that you're gonna have forever. And to add on to that, nobody is really gonna be with you forever. Even if y'all stay together forever and get married, or you're best friends with that person forever, they are never going to be with you 24 hours out of the day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Zero guarantee that they're actually going to stay around. You have to prioritize your relationship with yourself and with God. Anyways, now I'm putting on sunscreen because, like I said, there's a thing with black people. They're like, well, I'm black, I don't get sunburned. So first of all, black people can't get sunburned. I've seen it. But two, we had to put a little switcheroo to the iPad. So literally, sunscreen can help prevent wrinkles and skin cancer in the future. It literally is so important. Moral of the story: black people, wear your sunscreen. Let's move on. Another thing I want to say is don't put too much pressure on yourself to feel like you have to know what you're gonna do in your life, because you're not. There's literally 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old people that are just now figuring out what they really want in life, and that's completely okay. Dog, you're 15, 16, 17, 18, however old you are, you're not gonna know what you want to do for the rest of your life because you don't know what the rest of your life looks like. So that's gonna change, and that's perfectly okay. You don't have to have every little thing figured out, because stuff is gonna change. My first dream job was to be a teacher, and as of right now, I don't really want that. And there's some qualities. I love helping people, I love educating people, I love talking to people, I love helping people out, I love working with children, things like that. But there's other ways you can do stuff that you're passionate about, you feel me? So it doesn't have to stay the same. Okay, so now we're done with skincare, so we're gonna move to the actual makeup portion. So first and foremost, this is the primer. I finally got the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, and I literally love it so much. The consistency of it is so beautiful. It's it's so great, and it doesn't make my skin feel dry or it's actually doing something, because as I've stated several times, I have eczema, so I have to make sure that the stuff I'm using doesn't make my skin feel all dry and gross. Another thing I want to say is don't feel like you need to be in a relationship to be like the right kind of teenager. Like, in all honesty, I think dating as a teenager is, while it can be like super beautiful, because you know, I feel like there's a certain kind of love that only teenagers can have, or that can only come when you're a teenager. So like that is a thing. But at the same time, I've seen like adults get into relationships and have like that teenager-esque love. So it don't really matter. And I know a lot of people that feel like shameful or like bad about themselves because they didn't get into a relationship when they're a teenager, but like you really don't need to. And honestly, I think it's kind of better if you don't, because your teenage years should not be you focusing on another person. They should be, you know, you focusing on yourself and healing yourself and doing right by yourself. So then when you eventually do get in that relationship, then, you know, you're able to actually be in it all the way and be the best version of yourself and know who you are before the relationship even happens. This is the foundation I use. It's just the Sephora brand, the best skin ever. And literally, like, it's literally like my skin. Like, it literally is like my exact skin tone, like you're gonna see. So, yeah. Oh, another thing, and this is something that's, like, I've been seeing get talked about, like, on TikTok and stuff. But basically, don't be scared of being cringy. Especially, like, if you want to do something, like, big. Like, okay, let's say, like, you want to do social media, or you want to start a YouTube channel, or a podcast, or whatever the case may be, right? You're like, oh my God, I think this is so super cool. This is something I really want to do. Like, I'm passionate about it. It makes me happy. I can really see myself doing this. Like, whatever, right? The first whatever you do, like the first video, first podcast, first literally whatever, is not going to be super duper good. And in all honesty, it probably will be kind of bad. If not kind of, it'll be really bad. Like, there's no way the first whatever you do is going to be good. Like, nobody's first YouTube video was good. Like, literally, whoever. Mr. Beast, Curtis Connor, Danny Gonzalez. Those are two of my, I love Curtis Connor and Danny Gonzalez. Or, like, Bo Burnham, or whoever you watch. Like, literally anybody. Nobody's first video was like, oh my God, blockbuster. Unless you're, like, already a literal celebrity. Like Will Smith and them, who be starting, like, YouTube channels. Obviously, like, their first videos or whatever are going to be good, but that's because they already have an established name. They already have a platform. They already have people that can, like, you know, help them out with stuff like that. You ain't got that, queen. Like, no tea, no shade. It's just, you ain't got it. And it's perfectly fine that you don't have that. You don't really need it. You feel me? But it's like, don't automatically, you know, like, put yourself down because you know it's, like, the first one isn't going to be good. That's kind of like the whole point. The whole point is for it not to be good and for you to grow and things of that nature. Like, it's not going to be good, and that's perfectly fine. But you can't be afraid of being cringy if you want to do something like that, because people are gonna think you're cringy regardless. Like, people think Kevin Hart is cringy and unfunny, but he makes more money than most of them people are ever gonna see in their entire lifetime. Like, people are gonna say what they're gonna say regardless of your success level or not. Like, you know, people are gonna say what they're gonna say regardless. People's opinions shouldn't dictate whether or not you do something you really want to do. Like, if this is something you're really excited about and something you're really passionate about, why deny yourself the opportunity to do it? Like, that's just like being rude to yourself. You literally deserve better than that. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you tell yourself, like, oh, you can't do something you really want to do because it's not gonna work out? Like, that's so rude. Why would you, like, sit and be rude to yourself like that? And in all honesty, you gotta sit and think, like, every time you're being rude to yourself, you're being rude to, like, your inner child, or, like, that younger version of you. Like, look at an old picture of you, right? Like, a baby picture of you. Would you really sit and be rude to that little girl or that little boy? Like, would you really sit there and look at that small human and be like, you know, you can't do what you want because it's gonna suck and you're not gonna be successful? Ah, that's so rude. Like, literally, don't downplay yourself just because, like, you're scared or whatever. You're gonna be scared regardless. Like, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay. Literally, don't stress too much. It's going to be perfectly fine. And even if it's not perfectly fine, you deserve to give yourself the opportunity to at least try it. Like, literally, why deny yourself the opportunity to do something you really want to do? Like, that's so rude. Anyways, this is the concealer I use. It's the Sephora brand too. It's Bright Future in the shade 13. Yeah, and then my foundation shade is 35N. Just, in case you were wondering. Something else that I think is super important that I had to learn is don't be afraid of the fact that you're gonna change as you grow up. Like, literally, nothing is gonna stay the same. And while that can be like a super scary fact, because for a long time I was really scared of the fact, I was like, oh my god, nothing's gonna stay the same, everything's gonna change. But like, change happens every day, whether you're like aware of it or not. And being aware of it isn't really gonna stop stuff from changing. Stuff is gonna change regardless, whether you're aware of it, whether you want it to or not. It's gonna happen. And honestly, you really just have to be okay with it, because it's gonna happen regardless. And you really just have to suck it up, for lack of better terms, like, in all honesty, because it really is gonna happen regardless, babe. Like, but you're gonna be fine. Like, you're gonna be perfectly fine. God got you. Like, there's literally no reason for you to even be stressing. I know none of you are probably wondering, but just in case you were, me losing my lip liner is becoming a daily part of my makeup routine. I search and scour daily for my lip liner. So, it's honestly, it's the most fun part. I have such a great time not being able to find like a staple part of my makeup routine, because I literally can't do makeup without lip liner. Like, it just doesn't work. Anyways, I found it. But before lip liner, I'm gonna do blush. So I have like this. So this is like I have a liquid blush, and then I have a powder blush. So the liquid one, honestly, like, she's super pigmented. So I honestly need to be like a little careful. So then I go in with like my other beauty blender and just kind of like squeeze it, and then it just, the way I do blush, like, I smile when I do it, so I look a little crazy. But like, you smile so you can get like like the, what is it? The apple of your cheek? Is that what that's called? I think that's what that's called. You just kind of put it on there and then just. And I know that looks super light, but keep in mind, I also have a powder one. And you can, like, honestly, I think it's better to layer it versus put in too much. Because I did that yesterday, and I literally had to go back in with foundation just to, like, fix it. Because it looked, like, so insane. It was so crazy. Okay, so now I'm going to do, like, the powder blush. But anyways, something else I want to touch on is, like, don't be afraid of spending time with yourself, but also don't get too comfortable not spending time with other people. Because I know, like, a lot of times, especially right now, I feel like people are like, oh, like, it's good to, spend time alone and all that. And I'm not saying it's not. I think you should be comfortable spending time with yourself. You should be comfortable spending time with yourself more than you're comfortable spending time with other people. Like, I think you should be your best company and things of that nature. I'm not saying that that's an incorrect statement. But what I am saying is that, sometimes I think it's a very fair assessment that people get a little too comfortable in not being around other people. And then when it comes to having to be around other people, you don't know how to function in social situations. And it's like, you don't really know how to do stuff like that. And then, like, you cannot function as a person that way. Like, that's literally impossible. That's just not how people work. Like, you need to be able to function around other people. I did not show y'all my blush. Oh my goodness. So this is the powder blush I use. I got it at Sephora. It was just like this random brand. I think it was like $12, so I got it. And then I have this highlighter. I don't know where this is from. My mommy gave it to me. So it's like just a little powder highlighter. And really, And really all I do with this is just put it on like my inner corner. Sometimes I'll put it like a little bit up here and maybe like a tiny bit on my nose. But that's about it on the highlighter. I don't like to be like too shiny, I guess. But yeah, don't like let your solitude be the only place you exist. It's good to be around other people. Like there's no reason you shouldn't be around other people. And I'm not saying, but at the same time, like in that same breath, don't spend so much time with other people that you don't know how to spend time by yourself. You feel me? Like, spending time with other people is good. It's a great thing to do. It's a great practice to have. But at the same time, you should know how to spend time by yourself without feeling like you're finna go insane because you don't have company. And I think the pandemic made a lot of people like that, where they're like, oh, like I can be by myself. Like I don't need other people. And you definitely don't need like anybody specific in your life, but we're humans. Humans are, social beings. Like that's literally just how we're wired. That's how we're programmed. We're programmed to, want community and need stuff like that. So it's literally not crazy to feel like, you want to be around people. That's how humans work. It's perfectly fine to want company. It's perfectly fine to, want to be around people. But at the same time, it's perfectly fine to want solitude. I'm just saying, I'm trying to I feel like I'm jumping all over the place. What I'm basically saying is don't go from one extreme to the other. Like find a healthy balance. Find a healthy balance in, I like being by myself. I like spending time by myself. But I also want to be around other people. Like don't have too much of one thing because that's just not healthy. That's just not good for you. Anywho, now I'm going to go in with this eyeliner. It's Aniyah. I got it as a free sample from Sephora, so I don't really know too much about it. I also like barely know how to use eyeliner, so I'm like my hand looked so bye. I like don't really know what I'm doing by the way, so it's really just like a learning thing. That's the next thing. Don't beat yourself up at the fact that you don't know everything. Boom. Like literally you're not gonna know everything, and that's like so perfectly okay. But the whole point of like growing up and everything is to learn new things. And like learning new things is so fun. Honestly, like my grandma would always be like, oh, you learn something new every day. And I used to be like, oh my god, yeah. But I used to like brush it off. It's just like, oh, that's just my grandma talking. That's just like that old people wisdom. But like, in all honesty, you really do learn something new every day. Like, and it's so fun to learn new things. Like, honestly, it's really enjoyable. And honestly, it's one of my favorite things about growing up, like learning new stuff. Like, why wouldn't you want to learn something new? Why? Because like, think about it. If you think you know everything, you'll never learn anything. So like, why would you want to sit and be like, oh, well, I know everything. I don't like, nobody can teach me anything. Those are like kind of the worst kind of people, in my opinion. Like they're my least favorite kind of people. Like literally in like every comedy, like TV show or whatever, there's always a scene where somebody's like, oh, nobody likes a know-it-all. But like, that's so true. Like nobody likes a person that feels like they know everything and like can't stand to learn anything from anybody else. That looks terrible. Yeah, that looks really bad. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna cover her up. On that beautiful note, with growing up, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up quite a bit, honestly. And you just have to be prepared. And, even if you're unprepared, you just have to be willing to be like, okay, I messed up. Let's fix it now. Like, the way I just messed up that eyeliner. But then, just got some concealer and just kept it pushing. Like, messing up and making mistakes isn't the end of the world, and you shouldn't let it be the end of the world. Like, it's perfectly okay to mess up. Y'all just saw me mess up. But, like, it's perfectly fine. Like, nobody is gonna sit there and be like, ha 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 ha, you messed up, like you literally suck. And if they do, that's really just more of a reflection on them than on you. Okay, so next I have two mascaras. I have the Maybelline Sky High mascara, and then I have this aniyah mascara, which again, if you couldn't tell, we're on a roll with the free samples from Sephora. But I do the Sky High first and then the aniyah one, because Sky High is more length, and this one gives like more volume, so it just makes sense for me to do it that way. Anywho, like, if anybody is sitting there and like mocking you for messing up, that's really just more of a reflection on them than on you. Like, you should not let that be like your end all be all. Like, really, if somebody is sitting there and they're like, oh my god, you messed up, and they're making it their business that you messed up, and like, you know, like just really putting themselves like in your situation, they're really just odd. And like, you should not let odd people run your life. Like, they have their own lives to run, and if they're more worried about your life than theirs, that says more about them than it does about you. Like, you know, don't let that dictate anything in your life, honestly. Like, you know, yeah, really, they're probably just sad and lonely on their own and can't find anything interesting enough in their life to talk about, so they just have to talk about you to feel like they have some sense of like fun and energy in their life, because clearly their own lives are not given what they need to give, and clearly your life is. And you know, if you ain't got haters, you ain't doing enough. Like, you ain't doing it right. Like, if you're being successful, people are gonna hate on you. That's literally, like, the enemy is going to hate on you if you're doing something right, because he doesn't want you to do anything right. And it might not be sent in like such a spiritual sense. The enemy can literally just send people to try to like bring you down, and you cannot let him do that to you. You are beautifully and wonderfully made, like, and you have to live in that truth. Like, you have to know that you're beautiful, that you're beautifully and wonderfully made, like, because you are. You're literally made in God's image. Like, why wouldn't you hype yourself up? Switching gears a little bit to school, don't feel like school is the only way you can dictate how intelligent you are, because it definitely is not. School is just one way that, school is just one way to determine intelligence. But even at the same time, the American school system is like so backwards, and it literally is honestly built on racism, just like everything else in this country. So you literally can't even like be mad at yourself for real when you don't fit into the structure. And then on top of that, the schooling system was really just built to make like factory workers, and that's why everything is like super structured, super by the book and everything, because it literally was made to build little children to work in factories. And so don't be mad, you know, if you don't fit into the structure too well. Because honestly, if you're black, or honestly, if you're anything except white, the system was really built against you. So you can't even like get too mad at yourself if you don't fit. And like, it's okay to not fit. Everybody can't be super duper book smart. That's just not how the world works. It's like impossible. And then there's so many other ways to show your intelligence. Like, there's trade school, there's trade school. Like, you could be a cosmetologist, a entrepreneur, you could be a construction worker. Like, you don't have to be like the next Albert Einstein. We don't need too many of those. Like, we need people in every section of the world to make the world go round. So like, you can't sit there and be like, oh well, you know, I'm not book smart, I don't do good on standardized tests. But that doesn't make you stupid. You're literally just a human being who doesn't fit into the structure, and that's like fine. You don't need to fit into the structure to be smart. There's different forms of intelligence, babe. Like, it's perfectly okay. Whoever introduced me to lip liner, I literally love you forever. Like, for reference, this is my lip liner. It's the Huda Beauty Lip Contour 2.0 in the color Rich Brown. Like, tell me this doesn't eat. Don't compare yourself too much to other people and their journey. Like, oh, and then this is my lip gloss. It's literally just Broadway lip gloss. This is literally all I use. I use Broadway lip gloss, and that's it. You literally can get it from the beauty supply, and it's like $1. Um, don't compare yourself too much. Like, don't compare your journey to other people's journeys, because that's literally, like, that's their life, and your life is your life, and y'all literally are on two completely different paths. Like, y'all are living two completely different lives. Y'all are two completely different people, and if y'all were meant to have similarities, y'all would have them. Like, everybody can't be picture perfect. Like, if everybody was something, nobody would be it. Like, if everybody was skinny, nobody would be skinny. You feel me? Like, so don't compare yourself to other people too much. Like, that literally is so, like, unnecessary, for lack of better terms. Like, you literally cannot do that to yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice when you do stuff like that. And really, you're just like, it's honestly just like a waste of time. I'm gonna put more blush on, because I saw somewhere somebody was like, blush is the first thing to go from your makeup. And literally, like, that's so true. Like, every time I look at my makeup, at the end of the day, the first thing that's gone is my blush. Like, everything else stays, and I literally don't understand it. But then again, I just started being a makeup girl, so, you know, it's not for me to understand. Anyways, that really is the end of my makeup. That's really all I do. It's fairly simple. This is just like my like everyday makeup that I do, you know, just when I feel like putting a little more energy into how I look. On the topic of makeup though, girls, do not, or anybody that does makeup, don't feel like you need makeup to be pretty. I went through a little phase like that where I would look at my bare face and just be like, wow, like, I look so boring. Like, there's no like life or anything. Like, that's so unnecessary. Like, you can't live every moment of every day with makeup on. That's not good for you. It's not good for your skin. It's just not good. So you really just have to love yourself like the skin you were born in. You weren't born with makeup. You're not gonna, I mean, you might die with makeup, but you weren't born with makeup. Like, that's just not you in your natural form. You have to love you in your natural form, because that's how God made you. That's how he knew you're supposed to look. And that's that. And even, okay, if it's like a skin thing, because I know that was my problem for a little bit. It was like, oh, I need makeup because my skin looks bad. Then invest in skincare before you invest in makeup. Because even like if you have bad skin and you put makeup on, makeup is only supposed to enhance what's already there. Like, you can't, makeup is not meant to cover up like every little imperfection. And you know, that's not what makeup is for. It's supposed to enhance you, not make you feel worse and make you feel bad about yourself. Closing remarks though, stay true to yourself, take care of yourself, drink water, go to the gym. Even if you can't go to the gym, do some home workouts, go on a walk, do something. Take care of yourself, pray, be kind to people, even if they're not kind to you. Especially if you're Christian. You know, Jesus was nice to everybody, but everybody was not nice to Jesus. And it's literally in the Bible. Jesus says, even if like the world doesn't love you, remember that it did. At first, it didn't love me. Everybody did not love Jesus. Everybody's not gonna love you. You don't even love everybody, so everybody's not gonna love you, babes. And that's perfectly fine. Like, it's okay that everybody isn't gonna like you. Everybody isn't supposed to like you. You're special. Like, you're unique. Everybody isn't gonna like that. Everybody isn't gonna love you like super duper much, and that's okay, because God loves you super duper much, and I love you super duper much. So like, but no, take care of yourself, love yourself, put God first. Don't put anybody above God. Don't put anybody above yourself except God. Yeah, honestly, growing up can be very difficult. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It can be very hard. Growing up is hard. It's not easy. But everything you go through makes you the person you are. So don't live life with any regrets. Don't just don't live life with any regrets. Don't be like, oh, I wish this would have happened this way. Everything happened the way it was supposed to happen to make you the person you are. Everything that's happened in my life, I don't regret, because it made me who I am. Like, if I didn't go through the stuff that I went through, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all. Like, if you didn't go through the stuff you went through, you wouldn't be sitting here watching me today. So I just really want y'all to understand that everything really does happen for a reason. Everything is working out for your good. God is intentional in everything that he does. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And I really don't want any of you to regret growing up, or regret anything that's happened in your life, or regret any decision that you've made. You're gonna make bad decisions when you grow up, and that's perfectly fine. Stuff happens, life happens, you're gonna make bad decisions. There are fully grown adults that make bad decisions, and that's perfectly okay. It's normal. Don't let that end you. Even if like the bad decision you make sets you back, don't stay back here. Don't stay where you were set back. Get back to where you started, or even go further than that. Everything's gonna be okay. I love having these kind of conversations. It brings me joy. Everything really is going to be okay. And I love you guys so much. God loves you. So do I. Beautiful people. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for talking to me. And yeah. If there's anything you want to see, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all the things. My socials are always down in the description. If there's anything you want to talk to me about, you can DM me or leave a comment. I respond. My Instagram, my TikTok, all those things of that nature will be written down in the description, so you can go follow me, keep up with me, things like that. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you for sitting here. Thank you for talking to me. You guys make me so happy, and y'all are my favorite people in the whole wide world. And I love you guys so much. And until next time, bye, beautiful people.